There are two things I know for certain. First, I was completely alone in that shopping mall. Second, the motion sensor that kept going off at exactly 2:13 wasn't broken, because on my last shift, I finally found out what was triggering it. The strange part, the security cameras never showed anyone except me. I quit that job the very next morning. For almost 3 years, I never told anyone why. This is what happened. I'd been working as a night security guard for almost 9 years when all of this happened. People always tell me abandoned shopping malls must be terrifying after dark. Honestly, they're not. At least, not at first. They're just empty. During the day, the place still had a little life left in it. A pharmacy stayed open until the evening, a discount clothing store still attracted a few customers, and there was a small coffee stand near the main entrance where employees gathered before heading home. But nearly 70% of the mall had already been abandoned. Metal shutters covered storefronts that hadn't opened in years. Old posters advertising sales from long-forgotten holidays still hung in dusty display windows. Some shop signs had missing letters, making them look like names from a forgotten town. Every night at 11 o'clock, the last employee would wave goodbye, the automatic entrance doors would lock, and I'd begin my shift. I actually liked working nights. No customers, no complaints. Just me, a flashlight, a radio, and several 100,000 square feet of silence. After enough years, you get to know a building, almost like it's a person. You learn which doors creak, which lights flicker, which air vents whistle when the wind changes outside. Every building has its own sounds. That's why you immediately notice when something new appears. For me, it started with a motion sensor. Every night, exactly 2:13 in the morning, the control panel would let out the same short beep. Motion detected. Food court corridor. The first time it happened, I didn't think much of it. Old sensors fail all the time. A moth, dust, maybe a loose wire. I acknowledged the alarm, grabbed my flashlight, and walked to the food court. Nothing. The hallway was completely empty. I checked every entrance, every emergency exit, every locked store. Nothing had been disturbed. I reset the alarm and walked back to the security office. The following night, 2:13, the exact same alarm, same corridor, same result. Nothing. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It became so consistent that I stopped looking at the clock. I just wait for the familiar beep. After about 2 weeks, I mentioned it to one of the maintenance workers while we were having coffee before my shift. He looked at me for a second and smiled. "So you've met the food court ghost." I laughed. "I've met a broken motion sensor." He shook his head. "They've replaced that sensor 3 times. Still happens?" He nodded. "Every night." I expected him to laugh, tell me he was joking. Instead, he finished his coffee, threw the cup away, and before leaving, he looked back at me. "Just don't hang around the food court after 2:13. That was it. No explanation. I remember standing there thinking he was just trying to mess with the new guy. Looking back, I wish I'd listened. A few nights later, curiosity got the better of me. Instead of waiting for the alarm, I decided I'd already be standing there before it happened. At around 2:10, I walked into the food court and switched off my flashlight. The emergency lights were enough for me to see. Rows of empty tables stretched across the room. Half the chairs had been stacked upside down years ago, and never moved again. The old burger restaurant still had faded menu boards hanging behind the counter. A children's coin-operated carousel stood frozen near the entrance, covered in a layer of dust so thick it looked abandoned for decades. I checked my watch. 2:12. The entire mall was silent. Then my radio crackled. "Motion detected. Food court corridor." I frowned. I was already standing in the corridor. Nothing had moved. Not even me. I slowly turned in a circle. Every table remained exactly where it was. Every storefront was dark. Every shutter was locked. Then I heard it. A footstep. Behind me. Heavy. Slow. Another one. Then another. My heart immediately started racing. I spun around so fast that my flashlight slipped from my hand and rolled across the polished floor. Its beam stopped in front of the old toy store. The hallway behind me was empty. There wasn't a single person there. I picked up the flashlight and laughed to myself. It wasn't a real laugh, more the kind you force out when you're trying to convince yourself you're not scared. Old buildings make noises, pipes settle, air ducts expand. Everything has an explanation. That's what I kept repeating inside my head. Then I looked toward the toy store. For just a split second, I thought I saw someone standing behind the dusty display glass, perfectly still, watching me. I blinked. The figure was gone. Only faded teddy bears and broken shelves stared back at me. I stood there for another minute before walking back to the security office. I didn't mention any of it in my report, because honestly, I wasn't even sure I'd actually seen someone. But looking back now, that was the last night I believed I was alone inside that mall.